The Globe Finance headlines of the CBC Evening News.
This year's first road fatality comes at a mass casualty event. Repeat visitors get assurances from the Prime Minister. And in sports, a former West Indies player calls for a new regional skipper.
With the compliments of Globe Finance, those are the headlines of tonight's edition of the Evening News. Next on CBC.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Broom. This is the CBC Evening News. Barbados Emergency Services pressed into action early this morning, responding to a mass casualty situation at Eagle Hall in St. Michael. An elderly Christchurch man is now dead and 33 other people injured after a collision between a minibus and a transport board bus. Shane Seeley was on the scene.
Just after 5:20 this morning, Barbados recorded its first road fatality for the year. Dead is George Anthony Blackman, a 62-year-old gardener from 7th Avenue, Hearts Gap, Christchurch. According to reports, Blackman was a passenger in this minibus. 15 people traveling in the same vehicle were also injured. The 18 others who sustained injuries were passengers in the transport board bus. CBC understands that emergency personnel were at the crash site within minutes. Now, the accident here outside of Maps Road, Tissery, would have occurred at about 5:20 this morning. But as you can see, some of the injured are still in the bus and they are being ferried by emergency personnel over to the Rubis gas station, where a mass casualty has been set up to treat to the injured. Scores of curious onlookers gathered as the area was cordoned off for hours to all vehicular traffic. 6 ambulances took some of the injured to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and the nearby Branford Tate Polyclinic in Black Rock. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector David Welch gave an update on the scene.
At this point in time, the emergency medical area has been dismantled. This was dismantled around 8:30. This has paved the way for the police to continue their investigations. As an update towards the conditions of those who were injured, we had 5 doctors from the QEH, as I said before, led by Dr. David Bayer. We had 15 serious patients transported to the QEH by ambulances. We had 17 transported to the Polyclinic at Black Rock. And as I said before, we had 1 death at the scene.
Inspector Welch is now appealing to motorists to be more careful on the roads of Barbados.
We are asking persons, the motorists especially, to be cautious, obey the rules of the road. Right? Don't let another life be lost in this area, in fact, at all on our roads.
Now, police investigations continue into exactly what happened here at Eagle Hall. Of course, CBC will continue to bring you up to date as details unfold. I'm Shane Seeley for CBC News.
And the police public relations officer later informed CBC that the minibus driver is being questioned by lawmen in connection with the accident. He also said that of the 15 people taken to the QEH, 3 remain hospitalized in serious condition, including the bus driver. Prime Minister Frundle Stewart is promising to continue efforts to ensure the island maintains a high level of repeat visitors. This includes paying attention to law and order and the provision of other public services. He spoke last evening at his official residence at Illawarra Court as he held a reception for scores of repeat visitors from Barbados' main markets, including the UK, the US, Canada and the Caribbean.
Prime Minister Frundle Stewart has attached much importance to this particular group of tourists, the repeat visitor. He's already welcomed hundreds of them to Illawarra Court to thank them for their loyalty. The Prime Minister says the island values their business as it needs the foreign exchange generated from the industry.
So we cannot afford to take for granted the confidence which you have continued to show in Barbados. I met people tonight who have told me that they have been coming here for the last 50 years, some for the last 40 years, various periods of time. And you don't leave Barbados and come back unless you have confidence in the country. And as the country's Prime Minister, I feel obliged. I think a compelling sense of appropriateness dictates that I thank you for the confidence which you have continued to show in this country.
Some of the tourists told us why Barbados is their destination of choice.
One of the things I like to do, believe it or not, is every year we organize a rum shop tour. We jump in our cars and we have a local guy that works as a gardener at the Bougainvillea. He's known all over the island, and he jumps in the car and takes us to the rum shops in the country, and where we sit and talk to people and enjoy their company.
This island is a palindrome. Everyone goes, wow, W-O-W. Fantastic, sister, I tell you. You have an island beyond paradise.
I've never been treated badly by one person here in Barbados in my whole life. We keep coming back. We only have another 27 years left in our timeshare. So we'll be back every year. Like we spend the whole month of January here now every year.
We wouldn't come back if we didn't love it.
Others say the Prime Minister's initiative is something to look forward to.
It's very nice to be invited somewhere, to be acknowledged that we've come back so many times. But we come back so many times because it's such a very nice place to be.
My eyes were bugging out of my head. It was a beautiful evening, and I really, really appreciate being invited here. I feel like royalty.
Our Prime Minister in Canada might be able to learn from this.
Food, beverage and loads of entertainment were part of last night's package. The spotlight also shone on students from Graydon City and this group of pupils from Bay Primary School who will remember the night for some time to come. Sean Farrell, CBC News.
The Barbados Labour Party says it will stand by drainage workers if they decide to challenge the legality of their layoffs. The suggestion that the dismissal of the 300-plus workers may have been illegal came from opposition leader Mia Mottley late last year. And today, during a press conference at party headquarters on Roebuck Street, First Vice President Dale Marshall said Labour Party lawyers are looking into the situation. He told the media the way the layoffs were done, along with other pronouncements made by the government, could constitute a breach of the workers' contracts.
So the idea, for example, that a government can announce that they're freezing increments, we believe that that may well be unconstitutional. So we've asked our legal minds to look into those things, and some of our candidates who are lawyers have already taken on briefs from some of the drainage workers who have been sent home. So as a party, yes, we're following it up, but also as individuals, we're ensuring that the interests of the workers also receive our careful scrutiny.
The St. Joseph MP also said the BLP stands by its decision in the early 1990s when it amended the Constitution so that public servants' salaries could not be cut.
The position of the Barbados Labour Party remains, as a matter of principle, that the rights of Barbadian workers are inviolate. And I say without fear of contradiction that the Barbados Labour Party remains resolute on this matter. We therefore will not be agreeing to any amendment of the Constitution such as would allow the government to remove salaries, to reduce salaries, or in any way diminish or truncate the rights of workers.
A restructuring plan for the Transport Board is in the works. This assurance from Minister of Public Works and Transport Michael Lashley as government searches for ways to turn around the fortunes of the public entity.
We have to integrate, of course, the private transportation with the public transport. It is too costly in terms of the expenses, and we are looking at bringing efficiencies to the board, and that is part of the restructuring program, and to bring some profitability to the transport board. We're looking at new routes. We're looking at engaging the Transport Authority and Transport Board to work together as one. And we have 2 committees in place that should be reporting back to us within a week's time with that restructuring plan.
Mr. Lashley says the maintenance of their buses is one of the major issues that has to be addressed by the board.
Where you have fleet, there must be a stringent maintenance program in place. In fact, I met with UCAL yesterday. I met with UCAL on Friday with Sir Roy, and I met with UCAL. In fact, even in the workshop, I met all the workers yesterday at UCAL. And we had a very, very, very good discussion, very good meeting. And from here in now forward, you can see really an improvement in the maintenance.
Meantime, Mr. Lashley expects that hundreds of jobs will be created through the Adopt a Highway project, recently announced by Finance Minister Chris Sinclair. He provided an update on the program.
We've had the final discussion of that yesterday. They've gone into town planning. My team will be meeting with town planning, the town planning department, I think on Thursday, to finalize that project. My understanding that there are 50 companies that will be involved.
Well, Minister Lashley says the project will run from the Grantley Adams International Airport to Mile and a Quarter in St. Peter. The Catholic Bishop of Barbados has suggested a program to help deal with what he sees as a new level of poverty in society. This will develop, according to Bishop Jason Gordon, when people lose their jobs as the tough economic conditions continue in Barbados. Bishop Gordon says it is based on this premise that the Roman Catholic Church launched the initiative called the Hub.
How it will evolve will be dependent also on the people who will come in and be part of this hub. One of the great challenges for anyone who has been unemployed is waking up the morning after and realizing there's no place to go. It's not just the lack of cash, it's not just a lack of food, it's a lack of hope, and it's a lack of routine, and it's the lack of anything that brings a sense of hope for the person's life.
The bishop also wants businesses like hairdressers and barbers to offer one free service to unemployed people.
We also want to do other things like challenge the community for things that people who are unemployed really can't afford. We want to get some of the hairdressers to offer one haircut a month or one grooming a month, because for somebody who has been working for a long time and you can't afford that, those are the little things that make life different, to be able to go out in public and feel that you still have your dignity intact, while we've tried to find the way to employment and to other things to give people a sense of dignity, a sense of purpose, a sense of hope. That's why we're calling it the Hub, people helping people.
Prime Minister Fundell Stewart has been remembering the contribution of former parliamentarian and cabinet minister Cyril Walker to the Democratic Labour Party and the island as a whole. Mr. Stewart was among members of the family and other members of the public who signed the condolence book at the George Street Auditorium today. Mr. Walker served as Minister of Education from 1987 to 1991 and represented the constituency of St. George North. An official funeral for Walker, who died late last month at the age of 83, will be held this Friday at the St. George Parish Church. Prime Minister Stewart told Cbc News his passing is a great loss to the DLP.
He made a difference while in this life he touched many lives for the better, was a very good example to the young people around the DLP, and I imagine the young people everywhere in Barbados. Very able man in the area of information and communications technology, and he brought those skills to the DLP and to government. So we're going to miss him, but we thank God for his life and thank God for the contribution he was able to make.